In the previous sessions, we discussed what productivity is, what are different types of productivity, and how we can calculate productivity given different units for output and input. In this segment, we will have a look at another perspective of the performance measurement of a process or system, that is the cost perspective. So we have a question, that is how to increase profit for a business. The profit can be increased either by increasing sales or decreasing cost, especially related to manufacturing or operations. Which option is better, or is there any issue with the first option? The answer is, if we increase profit by increasing sales, then the total profit or the gross profit definitely increases. But it is not necessary that per unit profit also increases, because by increasing sales, that is by making more products and selling more products, the variable cost is also increasing. So variable cost includes the cost for labor and the cost of material, for example. But if we increase profit by reducing cost for making the product through better management of the process, better execution of the process, then per unit profit definitely also increases. So that is the goal of this course, to design such processes and to execute the processes in such a way that the cost related to material, labor, and other aspects of the process is reduced. So that will ultimately increase per unit profit, or we can say that will ultimately increase the productivity. So as we discussed that productivity is output over input. So if we decrease the input related to labor, material, or other process parameters, then productivity will definitely increase. Let's take a simple hypothetical example. An organization that has revenue or sales of 1 million for a certain period. The direct material cost for these sales of 1 million were 500,000, direct labor costs were 200,000, in factory overhead cost was 200,000. Total cost, sum of these three was 900,000, 9 lakh. So as we discussed, this is the cost of goods sold, the cost of direct material, direct labor, and factory overhead. So 1 million minus 9 lakh is 1 lakh. So that is the gross profit, and that is 10% of the sales. So the gross profit is 1 lakh, and that is 10% of the sales, that was 1 million. Now let's assume that through a well organized process improvement approach, direct materials can be reduced by 10% and direct labor can be reduced by 5%. What will be the improvement in profit? So we are, by better management or better execution of the process, have reduced materials and labor cost. So we are assuming the revenue or sales to be the same, that is 1 million. Now the direct material cost was 5 lakh, so that reduced by 10%, so that turns out to be 4 lakh 50,000. Direct labor cost was 2 lakh, so that is reduced by 5%, so that becomes 1 lakh 90,000, and factory overhead cost remains the same. So now sum of these three is 8 lakh 40,000, and the gross profit is 1 million minus 8 lakh 40,000, so that is 1 lakh 60,000. Now the gross profit is 16% of the sales. So profit has increased by 60% from 1 lakh to 1 lakh 60,000. So you saw that by just a small decrease in direct material and direct labor cost, we have increased the profit significantly. That is a strong idea that we should focus on cost reduction by better design of the process. And this is something we discussed in the very first lecture. uh, the non-value adding activities there, because they are contributing a lot to the total time spent on the product, as well as to the total cost that we incur in making a product. So we will focus in this course on how to reduce the cost to increase profit and ultimately productivity. So the old equation for calculating the profit was that we designed some product, we manufactured it, and we incurred some cost to manufacture that product. Then we added certain profit margin to that cost, and that was the selling price for the product. That was a typical way to decide the price, selling price of a product. Now the equation and dynamics are totally different, because there is such a huge competition that the price is not in the control of manufacturer, because the competitors are offering lesser price in many cases. So you can't control this factor now. So there is sort of fixed price, and there is some cost that you have to incur to make the product, and the difference of the two is the profit. So idea is that this is something that is in your control, and this is something that you should rigorously work on to reduce. So this is something happened with our textile sector, that competitors like Bangladesh and Vietnam, they offered lesser price, so we didn't have the ways to reduce the price. So customer was having lesser price from other countries, so we lost our business. So that is why nowadays the business is very much concerned about reducing the cost, because price is not in their control. This is not decided by the market, by the customer. So in order to maximize this profit, we have to minimize the cost, and that is the focus of our course. So key to profitability nowadays is cost reduction. The more we can reduce the cost to make a product, the more profitable we are, and more we can sustain the ever-changing dynamics of the business. So in this lecture, we discussed productivity, its types, how to calculate productivity, and finally, the effect of reducing cost on profit. Thank you very much.